Christine, and it's another Scrap-Lift Crafternoon. Do y'all see this mess I got going on? Well, I got a plan for it, so let's just see. Today's Scrap-Lift is, it says Sunshine Lottie Loves Paper Paintbrush Challenge. I'll have the link down below so you can check out the original. And I kind of got to the end of the video, pretty much where you can see what she's put together. If you watch her video, this like little stuff here is texture paste. I do not have any texture paste. I had some I thought a while back and it dried out. I have nothing else, so I have a different thought I'm going to use. But she did that, and then she had like these little cutout flowers, and then she's got a round picture and a couple of words, and she kind of used black and white little accents and stuff, and then little gold pieces, titles kind of in the two places like that. Sprinkled some ink and good stuff like that. So I teased my fellow hoppers and I said, y'all are going to drag me kicking and screaming into this mixed media stuff. And she said, yes, I am. So here's kind of my plan. First off, for the flowers, the papers I want to use, I dug, and I have nothing that I could cut out and everything. So I think I'm going to try these die and cut these purple flowers and probably some green, because that's my scraps I can use. And I think, we'll see about the backside, but I think I can use those. Here's my background. Y'all, that's crazy, isn't it? It's from the Hip Kit Club Kaleidoscope. It's the January collection. I want to use it up. And I had this picture with me and my daughter. It's a Snapchat filter. And I thought that was funny. And I think instead of a circle, I'm going to do a hexagon. So I'm going to do that because I kind of thought it looked neat. And then what I have is, instead of the paste, I'm going to try, I have this really old, it was from Stampendous, and I honestly don't know if they are even open anymore, encrusted jewel kit, but I have it in purple. And so I'm going to use, I think this stamp here, which y'all have seen me use this now a couple times for the mixed media stuff. And I have a Versamark, which is what you use with your embossing type stuff. And I'm hopeful, I may need to test these because I think they both have embossing in there. I cannot swear on it. I hope they do. If not, we'll have to see what else I can do there. But that's my goal. And then I'm going to use, after you get the flowers kind of tucked in, she's got all just little kind of goody things. And I still have all these little embellishment things that I need to use. And there's even like a black and white here. There's a little things I can tuck. I think I can do a lot of little tucky tucks. So that's my plan. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this. I'm going to cut my flowers and cut my picture. You know what? The only bad thing is I kind of wanted to mat it. I may have to just do it by hand because this is my biggest one. And I don't think this guy is going to be big enough. Well, maybe, no. I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe that'll work, and then I can use white. I kind of wanted to use a white matte. So I may do that. I may stick with that. This is, I mean, it's not like it's historically that big a deal or anything, but I can kind of do that. I'm going to play with that a little bit. Anyways, let me get those few little steps done, and I'll come back on camera. As I said, mixed media kicking and screaming, right? That did not go as planned, like at all. And I just kept after it because I figured, you know, once I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound, man. Only thing I can think is I must not have had enough of the Versamark, because I mean, where it kind of landed, it kind of did okay. But then I just got that crap everywhere, y'all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the camera and I'm going to try to recover. I'm going to add some more Versamark because I also didn't come down far enough. So I think I'm going to try to somehow use this Versamark, make it a little more stickier, and brush this stuff up and add it back on and recover here. And I'll come back on camera once I've addressed my mess. All right, talk soon. All right, well, what I ended up having to do, y'all, I'm still not 100% sure about this because I think some little piece of, but it's okay. It's enough to not matter. I ended up having to use my heat gun underneath the paper and let it melt. It has been so long since I've used embossing powders or any of this stuff that I don't remember having to do that, but maybe I used to. Anyways, it finally did come out all right. Now, I still have to figure out, you know, how this is all going to go, but at least I've got that part. I may trim this because it is a little curled now from the heat. I may trim this just a hair and mount this. I've already deviated so much from the Scraplift, it doesn't really matter if I put a frame around it, right? So, all right, I'm going to stop and come back. I just wanted to tell y'all what I had to do in order to get this to work. All right. Well, at this point, I've gone ahead and cut the flowers out with my die, and I have already actually dry embossed with my special little tool there. Most of them, I showed you kind of the last little bit of that last one. And now I'm kind of figuring out where's this picture going to go, and I'm going to tuck these flowers in. She kind of tucked, you know, she had like I said, she'd fussy cut a bunch of flowers, and she tucked it all in and all that. And I'm honestly, I do have the Scraplift up on the screen over there, but I'm just kind of trying to figure, you know, where will these flowers go that makes some kind of sense. And I'm going to end up, I have to use wet glue, y'all. I say wet glue, and that ends up being, I have to switch that out. I have to switch out what I'm using, and I'll show you in a minute. But here's kind of where I've decided I like these flowers. And then I'm going to go over here and look at my little ephemeras and stickers and whatnot. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what kind of title can I use? And I think I picked the title first. Let me think just a minute. It's been 24 hours, and I've slept since then, and now I can't remember. I guess I don't pick the title first. But I do pull out these little ephemeras, and I go, okay. Because she kind of tucked all different little things in. Now, she did kind of, from what I could tell, intentionally used black and white accents. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I do that. I thought about it because I did even mention it, but I got to figure out what I can use out of this little ephemera pack. So I'm just pulling out little goodies. The kit itself kind of lent toward like a New Year's resolution type thing or things like that. And there happened to be these little party balloons. And I thought those little party balloons with their little foiling on there kind of matched all the little embossing. And I didn't really explain on the embossing. So the embossing, that Stampendous is like Encrustables or whatever. And it had that colorway of the purple. Well, in that it had like little gold shimmer things that melt when you heat it. I guess there's the embossing of that. So that's why you're kind of seeing that shine when I move the page around. It's gold embossed in there. Okay, so here I did choose that title. It's a sticker. And it says, Be Yourself. And I first start to try to glue my flowers down with this Nuvo glue. And I thought, okay, I know it doesn't dry right away, but I thought, okay, it'll be all right. I'll use that. But honestly, it doesn't really stay. Maybe I was impatient. I don't know. So I ended up deciding to go get my glossy accents because that doesn't take, I guess, as long to dry maybe. I'm not really sure. It just seemed to hold better on top of that embossing stuff. Again, I could have let the Nuvo dry longer or something like that, and it might have worked, but I just wasn't going to be that patient. So I used my little glossy accents here. And actually, I like how it works. It ends up holding stuff on there pretty good. So I've gone around and I've glued all them flowers down. I think I've done that all already. I'm not going to swear on it, but I think I have. And then I'm going to take the foam tape on the back of the picture. Now, the foam tape holds pretty good on top of the embossing stuff. It holds pretty good. So I do want this picture lifted up a little bit off the top of these flowers. And it ends up sticking on there pretty good. I was actually pretty pleased with this silly little picture. We had that little Snapchat with those little fake wigs and sunglasses and stuff. And I thought we looked kind of cute. It was actually taken at my sister's birthday. We'd gone to lunch for her birthday, and I was just playing around with silly little filters. No good reason why. I just think it's fun sometimes to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my foam tape backings here. That does take me just a second. I know the Scraplift had like a white background. She was very, I got the sense that she was trying to keep it, all the focus on the flowers and the picture and all that. And I get that, but I don't know. I liked how mine turned out with this kind of swirly background, and there's a lot going on. And, you know, when I started off and I did the embossing and I showed y'all in the beginning, it was a little scary. It was terribly scary. But I'm actually kind of happy with how this layout turned out. It's funny, I'll start down a path and I scare myself. And then if I just keep after it, I figure I'll just keep after it. And 9 times out of 10, it turns out better than I actually anticipated. So I would encourage you, if you're having issues when you're doing a layout and you feel like you've made a mess or whatever, keep after it, because I think the creative process is kind of neat in the sense like you kind of problem solve and all that. Now, I don't mean like if you spill ink all over the top of your picture or something. That's kind of unfortunate. But, you know, just certain little things, if you think it's going to go one way, then just use your creative juices to kind of figure out a way to incorporate the boo-boo, I guess my advice. So here's where I'm kind of going through again. I have so many little ephemeras to choose from, which I'm so happy, actually, in some sense. I mean, I still didn't make much of a dent. I mean, let's be real. There's so much that comes in these kits. They just load them up with goodies that I'm not going to say it's impossible to use them up, because, of course, you could, but I always have extras left over. But I kind of like that, because then later I can go back with other collections, and they're, you know, the color palettes are usually pretty usable. They're not so crazy you can't use them with a bunch of different things. Especially when you use like Pink Fresh or something like that. So I got this little 2022 and I'm kind of wanting to put it on here. I ended up moving it down actually to a little flower down toward the bottom. This is, there's no real, I mean, the title, I guess, is that Be Yourself. And then I'll find a couple other little word phrases. She used little fishtail banners and things, and I didn't do that. Honestly, I kind of stopped looking at the Scraplift just before I started messing with all this. There's a few little things I kind of look and go, oh, yeah, I can use that. I like this little butterfly. I'm kind of sticking in this whole purple and, yeah, kind of the purple palette with the complementary of that lime green on there. And I like it. I think it looks pretty. I say lime green. It's kind of yellow green, I guess. So some of the yellow ends up in here. And like I said, I kind of reference the Scraplift and I'll go kind of peek at it. But then most of the time I'm just kind of picking things and putting. Now, she does have on her layout, she has a much bigger bracket, but there's these 2 little black and white brackets. And I did kind of look at the black and white too. That was the other thing, that I was trying to be inspired by the black and white. And I do pull some of that in there. So it's not like it's not in there. It's just little pieces here and there that is kind of an allusion to the black and white on hers. But I start off, now I do put this little thing down here, something about like it's time to party or something. And that stays there for a little while. I actually leave that down there for a little while. And in my mind, I was like, okay, we're at this birthday party or whatever. I actually end up taking that off, though. And you'll see, because I pulled something out of one of the other sheets. Here's where I find the little chipboard hearts. And she had little hearts and things like that. I think that's right. Sprinkled around. So I'm kind of just sprinkling these around, adding the goodies. I'm not sure I ended up with as distinct of like a downward facing triangle. On the original layout, you could kind of see a very distinct kind of pointing downward arrow look shape. And I'm not certain I have as distinct of a downward pointing arrow, but I think you can still see it. I mean, the swirls on the background paper hide it a little bit, but I think you can still kind of see it when you want to, if you want to. So here again, I'm using my goodness, glossy accents, that's what it is. To glue stuff down. I do put these are 2 little flowers, and I put some foam tape behind the top parts of them so the top parts kind of poke up. And then I use the glossy accents on the bottom half because they go up underneath this little balloon. It's interesting because that little balloon, I put the glossy accent in the middle, so it caused it to kind of, I don't use the word, I guess it's kind of curled upwards. It's giving a little bit of edge there. I thought those little party balloons looked kind of neat in there, and it just fills out those little areas. Now, here's where I find these little black and white, like circly asterisk-y things. And again, I'm kind of looking at the layout, the inspiration layout, and I'm like, I want to add some black and white because that's what she did. And luckily, this little letter font that come with the kit had some black and white in it. Now, I do end up going into the puffy sheets with the crystal-looking stuff. What do you want to call it? Puffy, like kaleidoscope-looking crystals or whatever. So, but first, I guess I'm going to make my way around the layout, just gluing these little hearts down with this glossy accents. Again, I don't know if there's a better adhesive. There might be, and y'all are welcome to comment to help others. Like I said, I tried that Nuvo glue, and that probably would have worked on just the paper just fine. It's where the embossing stuff was that I was having the trouble with the Nuvo glue. and it might just needed to dry longer. And I'm just impatient, y'all. That's another reason I think I don't do too much mixed media, because I'm just too impatient to let things dry. I almost always blot inks and I almost always try to heat gun stuff. I rarely get up and walk away and leave stuff alone. Maybe because, scrapbook time is just so precious to me. I'm not going to say I don't get much of it, because that's a total lie. But I know there's little pockets of time I have to get it in. And if I find my day getting away from me, or I know my husband's about to come, usually is my issue. I'm trying to get this done in the afternoon or something. I know he's on his way home or something like that. So I'll try to hurry. So here's where I got these cute little phrases here. I think one says like, be amazing. And, to be honest, I can't read the other one, and I am not looking at the layout. But it's just a couple of word phrases that I'm kind of using in place of her little fishtail banners, or kind of where those would have been, or they are on her layout. And I use my glossy accents to glue it down. I think I come back in the next, I say that. I have to hold them down just because they're kind of, that embossing stuff is just so bumpy. It's just so bumpy and textured. You got to use something to hold this stuff down on top of it. All right, so now I'm kind of looking around, and I'm pulling out some more of my foam tape. I'm just adding it to the back of that little word phrase there, because it's going to hold it down. It's kind of bumpy-dumpy, And I'm going to just kind of look at this for a second and make sure stuff's staying. And if I've glued it down, because y'all seen me do this before, I'll forget to glue stuff down. And that right there, I hadn't glued it down yet. And so I'm going to put some foam tape behind it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to, I think I get up actually and leave y'all for a little bit. And so this is the next day. I've put all the other papers and things like that, and I find all my little embellishments here. And I had this real light wood grain little set of, they're not chipboard. They're kind of chipboardy, but they look like wood grain, real light wood grain. And I thought that looked kind of pretty, those two little circles there. One said like Be Wild or something. I forgot what the other said. But those look kind of pretty. And then I'm looking inside this little pack here, and I'm going, okay, what a little chipboard, or, yeah, I guess it's chipboard. What little chipboard deal can I find? And I find that little old heart. And I think I find, yeah, there's another little old heart. Maybe I find all the little hearts. I thought I put those out already, so maybe I'm missing one. I'm going to stick those in here. I thought about that little coffee cup that's on there, to be honest with you, but I decided not to. I think I pull out in a second. Here, I get these shoes. I think these just look neat. There's no good reason for these shoes. They're just kind of hot, they're just kind of cool. So I find a couple homes for these things. And then I find, what is that? Oh, flowers. I had used all the flowers the day before, and I found that one little flower kind of hanging out there. So then I go over to this puffy sheet here with these little kaleidoscope deals. Now, what I decided to do here, because my flowers looked a little weird with the centers having nothing on them. So I decided what I was going to do is use these little puffy crystal looking deals in the middle of the flowers. So I pull out kind of contrasting colors to the flower I'm sticking it on, but not like opposite color will necessarily, but just something that's a little different that kind of stands out off of the flower. And I stick them in the center of the flowers where you could see the center of the flower. A couple of the flowers I had stuff covered them up, like the one with the shoe and stuff. So, of course, I didn't put one there, but I decided on the other ones I did. And there's so many of these little circle dots. They kind of act almost like a little enamel dot in some cases, but this one I decided I'll make them my flower center. And then I kind of notice this like tassel looking thing, and I want that because I'm trying to, again, bring out that downward pointing triangle. So I decided to pull the phrase sticker up that said time to party. Sorry about my head, y'all. I pull up that phrase sticker, and I decided to put that little tassel there. And I couldn't find a home for the phrase sticker, so he goes bye-bye. And that's all I do this layout. I mean, I say all. It isn't like it doesn't have 1,000 things going on. But anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out the other ladies below, the links. It's Kristen and Anna. And then, like I said, the original layout was, I think her name, oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so sorry. Check the layout down below, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.